Okay, so hello everyone, welcome to the Dandelion Mathematics series, and today we're going to be talking about how to find the sum of the terms in an arithmetic sequence. Okay, so in the previous video, we talked about how to find a specific term in an arithmetic sequence, and then we also talked about the concept of a sequence. And here we're going to talk about the sum of those terms included in an arithmetic sequence, which means that we're going to add all the terms up and see what we're going to get. Okay, so here, let me give you an example. So let's say that I have a sequence here, and they are 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and blah, 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 and 99, and 100. So this is an arithmetic sequence with a common difference of 1. So here, I'm going to try to find out the sum of this sequence, which means that we're going to add up all those terms. So we add, and we add, and then we add. Okay, so here, we're going to find the sum, and I'm going to represent the sum with a symbol S. So S equals to the sum of all these 100 terms. So what we're going to get, and the answer is, I don't know. I don't know what we're going to get, and so that's why we're trying to derive something here. So when we're dealing with these sequence problems, we're trying to find a pattern. And what pattern can we find here? So apparently now we can't really find anything, but if I write this sequence in another form, I write it in 100 plus 99 plus 98 plus 97 plus blah, 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 and plus 2 and plus 1. So I write it in the other way around, and that's also going to be the same thing as. Okay, and some people might ask, why am I doing this? And I'm doing this simply because by only looking at these sequence, I'm not going to get anything out of it. So I'm going to try to write it in another form so it will help me to find some pattern and therefore solve the problem. Okay, so now what we're going to do. So let's find another pattern here. So if you look closely, you'll find out that if you add up 1 and 100, 2 and 99, 3 and 98, 4 and 97, and you just keep adding, and then 2 add to the 99 and 100 plus 1. So you're going to find out that when they add up together, they're going to get the same value, which is 101. You're going to find out that they're going to get the same value. Okay, so let's just do that. So S plus S is just 2S. So we're going to get 101 plus 101 plus 101 blah 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 plus 101. So we're plussing a lot of 101 here. And how many 101 that we're getting here? So that's 1, that's 2, that's 3, that's 4, and blah, blah, blah. So we're going to find out that there is 101 that we're adding here. So therefore, 2S equals to 101 times 100. So S equals to 101 times 100 divided by 2. And that's our answer here. This is our answer. But however, when we're doing those sequence problems where they ask you, oh, what is the sum of the sequence here? So you can't really just do all these steps. Like in a test, life is too short for this long process. So what we're going to do now is that we're trying to find a general formula for finding the sum of a sequence here. Okay, so let's try to analyze the value that we found here. So 2 is just a 2. So 100, what does 100 represent? And obviously that is the number of terms that we're getting here. So that will just be our end. How many terms that you have in a sequence that you are trying to investigate. And what is 101? So as we said previously, the 101 is when you add up these terms, right? The first and the last one, this one and this one, when you add up these terms together, you are going to get the same value, which is 101. So right now, we don't really know. It's like, generally, how are we going to write 101 in another form? So we can write 100 in just n. So how are we going to represent or express 101? So now it seems like it has a lot of options. So now let's derive the general formula for s. And then instead of using the specific numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm going to write in like this thing in another form. So now let's say that we have an arithmetic sequence of an, and then I'm going to try to find the value of the sum of the sequence. So I'm going to write that in Sn as subscript n. So what is that going to be? That's just going to be the first term in the sequence plus the second term in the sequence plus the third term plus the fourth term plus blah 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 and plus an. And then as we did previously, I'm going to write this sequence in another form, which is the other way around. So an plus an minus 1 plus an minus 2 plus an minus 3 and blah blah blah, and then plus a1. Okay, so what are we going to get? So if we add up these two sequences, we're going to get, so 2Sn. Okay, so 2Sn equals to a1 plus an, and let's give it a bracket so that will be like more like easier to look at, and then a2 plus an minus 1 and plus a3 plus an minus 2 and blah blah blah. You just continue to add them, and then you're going to, like, the last term that you're going to get is an plus a1. Okay, so now what pattern can we find in this long thing? What pattern can we observe? So let's see here. So a1, then you add it with an, then a2 we're going to add it with an minus 1, and as you can see here, all these subscripts here are different. So now what we're going to do here, so think about it. If you write a2 in another form, so let's say that so I'm going to express it in a1. So the a2 can become a1 if I minus a2 by a common difference d here. And in that way, I'm going to get a1. And why am I doing this? Because I want terms that are the same. So then I'm going to get some nice values. And yes, and that will be the case here. So let's get those things in the they look the same. And then for an minus 1, let's see if we can make it looks the same as an. So what we're going to do here is that we're going to add a common difference d. So by adding a common difference d to an minus 1, we're going to get an. So in this thing, we have minus a d and we plus a d, which makes these all these operations that we did, it makes the sum still the same, which means that now if we do the same thing for this one, so let's say here, I'm going to write it in a1 also. So I got all these a1s, so when I add them, then it will look a lot prettier. So in here I'm going to minus 2d, and then here I'm going to plus 2d in order to get an. So we can see that we're getting a lot of a1 plus an here. So a1 plus an, a1 plus an, a1 plus an, and you're going to get a lot of, and then a1 plus an here. So what will this thing become? This will become, and let's write it here, so 2Sn equals to then we're getting a lot of a1 plus an, right? So a1 plus an, then how many a1 plus an are we getting here? We're getting 100 of them. 100 of them. So times 100 here. Oh no, sorry, it's not 100. What am I doing here? Sorry, I caught COVID, so my brain's not really working. So how many we're getting here? We're getting n. We're getting a total number of n here, so we times it by n. So Sn will just become n times the first term plus the last term, and then divided by 2. And that's the general formula when you're finding like the sum of a sequence here. And so there are 3 unknowns, the 3 terms that you don't know. So, and you might panic, and don't worry, because there will be there is another formula for you to find the Sn here. And what would that be? So remember that in a previous video we have came up a formula to find any term in a sequence. And what is that? That is an equals to the first term plus n minus 1 times the common difference d. So now we're having a new thing here, the common difference d, and we're going to plug in the an into this equation. Okay, so what we're going to get. So this, and then that's n and a1 plus n minus 1 times d. That's what we're going to get, and divided by 2. And if you rearrange it, you will get a1 times the number of terms that you're having here, and plus n times n minus 1 divided by 2 times the common difference d. And that's your second formula to find the sum of the sequence that you are trying to investigate here. So we have these 2 things that we have to know. And then I'm going to tell you another small trick. What is the trick? So let's say that, okay, so we're moving on to another thing. We're moving on from this, to find the general form of the sum. So now we're going to find, to investigate a small trick. Okay, so what I'm saying here is that if you have an arithmetic sequence of an, then, and you have four letters, let's say a, oh no, let's not use a here. Let's use P and Q and R and T, where they all belongs to this. Okay, and then if P plus Q equals to R plus T, and in an arithmetic sequence, you will have this conclusion. So AP plus AQ equals to AR plus AT. Yes, and that is what you're going to get here. Which means that, let me give you an example. It means that, so let's use specific numbers here. So let's say that A3 plus A7. So the subscript here, when they add together, that will make 10, right? So that will be equals to, let's say A1 plus A9. So 1 plus 9 is also 10. So the subscripts, when they add up together, if they get the same number, then you will get, you can apply this trick here. And that also equals to, let's say maybe A4 plus A6. And that will also get you a 10. And it also equals to A5 plus A5. And that will be 2A5. And if you look closely here, A3 and A7 and A5, what is this? In the previous video, we said that in an arithmetic sequence, A, B, C, then 2B equals to A plus C, and that's exactly what we're getting here. So 2A5 equals to A3 plus A7 in an arithmetic sequence. That is always true. So yes. So that is a small trick that you can use in your test, because this trick is really fast. Like, it can save you a lot of time for you when you're in a test. And then, so the key takeaway from this video is these two formulas here. The two formulas that you are going to remember, and you must remember them. And here there's a small trick, and these are the three things that I'm going to cover in this video. So that is all from Dandelion today. And if you have any more questions, please put in the comments down below. And if you would like to stay tuned for further videos, please click subscribe, and I will see you next time.